Yo, 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 what going on, everybody, man? It's your boy TBL to Wall. You don't know, back again with another video. It's good to be back. I was busy for a couple of days, actually a couple of weeks, man. You know, whenever you see me go missing in action for a couple of days or even a couple of weeks, just know I on the work grind. That's what paying the bills, so I gotta handle that business. But I'm here, I'm back with another video. And just to let you know, I did officially launch tbltothewall.com. Let's check it out. So this is the site, man. It's official. Your boy have your landing page and everything. All of the buttons work. You can get all of my socials, the TBL to the Wall, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, the Director TBL Instagram, and the Trust the Hustle Trading Discord. You could book the one-on-one coaching. You could contact me directly. Just get in touch. Send me an email. The links to all my books, the audio books, hardcover, everything. And right here on the bottom where it says 120 to answer your question on YouTube, all you got to do is scroll down, put in your name, put in your email, put in the question that you want me to respond to, and I might make a video out of it here on YouTube. I actually had a subscriber that told me about a situation that they're dealing with. They had a girl flake on them 7 times. But after talking to him, it had me thinking that this would be a good video. The many different ways that women tend to disrespect you. It no matter the stage, the relationship that you're in. You could be dating, you could just be talking, you could be long-term relationship. It don't matter. I broke it down into 7 ways that women tend to disrespect you. And these 7 are the ones that you really have to look for because they could make or break your frame. And just to be clear, before I start coming at me in the comments, disrespect doesn't mean that she disagrees with you. Disrespect doesn't mean that she has her own opinion. I ain't talking about if she had a horrible day and she's in a little bit of a bad mood. And I ain't talking about having someone that's perfect or a robot. Everyone makes mistakes. What we're talking about here is patterns and behaviors that consistently violate respect and boundaries. So I'm going to talk about what these can look like, and I'm going to tell you what to do if it happens. And never forget rule number 1. This is in my book. This is in previous videos that I've made. Never argue with women. The whole point of me making this video is to just point out the fact that you do not get into shouting matches. You do not start yelling back and forth with women when you try and prove a point or when you try and get them to understand something. You might think you are asserting dominance and showing how big and bad you is, but at the end of the day, you just lowering your respect level even more. As a man, you need to operate from an abundance mindset. You can never stay in a situation and tolerate disrespect and someone consistently violating your boundaries and crossing lines. And let me tell you something. Women will test you. It doesn't matter who she is. It doesn't matter how good of a girl she is. She is going to test you. There are levels to it. And at the end of the day, you have to know how to recognize disrespect and also how to handle it properly without finding yourself in a debate or a shouting match or arguing or shouting back and forth trying to prove a point to this girl. So in this video, I am breaking down 7 ways that women tend to disrespect men. I am breaking it down so that you can recognize it and so that you can know how to deal with it. So let's get right into it. Number 1, she has a dismissive attitude. Now, what do I mean by that? I ain't talking about if you're in a house and you screaming down the room and she can't hear you and she unintentionally ignores what you're saying. And I ain't talking about them situations where maybe you might have misread a situation and you come to her and she was like, oh, no, everything's fine, man. Don't worry about it. Like, nah, I ain't talking about those. That ain't what I mean when I say dismissive. What I mean is that when you come to her and you genuinely bring up a concern or you express a standard, you communicating something that really matters to you. And then she responds with, man, whatever, man, you're doing too much. She might not even say anything to you at all. She might just start rolling her eyes or get super sarcastic. The point is, right, she hitting you with that kind of condescending energy. She's just completely invalidating and dismissing the thing that is important to you in this moment. And like I say, sometimes she might be having a bad day. She might be a little irritable. She might come home and it's nothing to do with you. And she might just kind of have a little bit of a undertone. She got to kind of decompress. She might sound a little frustrated or irritated. I ain't talking about one-off situations that don't really happen. I talking about when there's a clear pattern. That's when it becomes an issue. When you see this becoming a behavioral pattern and she is dismissive of your concerns consistently, that's when you can say to yourself that, yo, this is actually a behavior. This isn't some one-off situation where I just catch her, maybe she just get cussed off from her boss and she come home and she's just in a bad mood and she's like, oh man, like, I don't want to deal with nobody right now. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about when she consistently doesn't care about the things that you are trying to communicate with her. So what do you do in these situations? You have to be able to read the room and recognize if you're talking about a one-off situation, just give her some grace. Give her some time, leave her decompress. Maybe come to her later on with what it is that you're talking about. The same way how you don't want her to come to you when you had a rough day and just be da-da-da-da-da-da in your ear. It's the same way you wouldn't want to go to her if she had a crazy day and then you all of a sudden you just da-da-da-da in her ear or something. Sometimes you just got to let the dust settle. Leave her decompress, you decompress, and then when everything kind of calm, that's when you come and you articulate what it is that you guys say. As a man, you should have the capacity to understand those moments, read the room, and you're going to learn that over time. But when you do recognize that it is an issue and it is a pattern and a behavior, you do have to check it. You communicate clearly. You state your line. Listen, we're not going to talk to each other like that. Don't talk to me like that. Calmly, that's it. You don't gotta go back and forth. You don't gotta give a long speech and over-explain why she shouldn't talk to you like that. Just state your line clearly, calmly, and observe. Watch how she handles the situation. You can't sit down here like a crazy person, like, oh, there gonna be consequences for this behavior if you ain't even talk to her and leave her address it on her own and leave her show you if she has the capacity to actually address the behavior. A lot of men, especially now while there's red pill content, y'all going straight to consequences. Like, oh, she open her mouth once, bam, it's a wrap, she done. A lot of men out there skipping straight to the consequences. The mature thing to do is communicate first. Now, if after you've communicated calmly and the behavior still continues, that's when the consequences become necessary. And the best thing you could do, you have to disengage from the conversation. Tell her straight up, listen, I don't like the way you're talking to me right now. I don't like the way we're handling this situation. I'll talk to you later when we're both in the right space and we can have a calm conversation. And then you walk away. Like I say, do that 1 or 2 times. But if she consistently, over and over again, despite you doing that, if you're trying to communicate something that's important to you, a standard, a boundary, wherever it is, and your partner doesn't care and is dismissive of it, that's all the information you need right there, bro. You communicate, you set the standard, you set the tone. You disengage if necessary. And if it consistently happens, you have to be willing to recognize that y'all don't align and you need to walk away. It's like a process. In my book, I call it the escalation ladder. You know, you have to start from one point, go to the next, go to the next. You have to communicate effectively, man. Now, here's the second way you see women disrespecting men. Constantly challenging your decision. Now, let's separate disagreement from disrespect. Disagreeing ain't always a bad thing. In my mind, if you properly vetted this girl, you should have a girl that is of quality, that is of sound mind, body, and emotion. Sometimes she might bring something to your attention that you may or may not have considered. And it comes up in the form of disagreeing with something that you want to do or you want to say in that moment. There's nothing wrong with listening to her input and listening to what it is she got to say. A good captain to take his information from all of his first mates, all of his, his crew. But the decision, the final decision that we're going to make has to fall on the shoulders of the captain. And if she's constantly challenging that, if she's constantly trying to grab the wheel while you staring, y'all gonna crash. Trust me when I tell you, none of you men out there want a woman that gonna just agree with everything that you're saying. I know it sound amazing, it sound beautiful, but when you actually get it, it's gonna be annoying as shit. You want someone that brings the best out of you. You know what I mean? Someone that motivates you, that pushes you, that drives you. But at the end of the day, if every choice, every plan, every option, every opinion is a back and forth battle, it is going to burn you out. At the end of the day, the same way that you have to vet your girls, they have to vet their men. They have to make sure that the men that they're choosing to be with is adequate and suitable to be in the position of the driver's seat. Or else, why did she choose you in the first place? If you are demonstrating all the qualities, you handling business, you and your purpose, you and your mission, you and your grind, he's the type of man that'll keep your word and does what he says he's going to do. There's absolutely no reason why she should be constantly challenging everything that you're saying. Now, how do you handle this? First of all, stop defending yourself. One of the worst things that you can do, and even me, to this day, I find myself doing it sometimes because, you try and be soft, you try and be, communicative, you try and lead, and then you find yourself kind of over-talking, over-explaining. You know what I mean? Even me just being a YouTube person now, having to learn how to communicate my points and articulate and speak. I'd find myself I on YouTube sometimes with my girl, and I'd be like, oh, I gotta catch myself. But you don't want to find yourself there over-explaining and over-justifying what you're doing. It's almost like you qualifying for her approval. Let me explain to you why you should agree with the things that I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with keeping her in the loop, filling her in, helping her understand the movements so she could participate in the way that's most effective for the things that you need in order for the plan to be effective or whatever. But if you find yourself there over-justifying, over-explaining, the more you try to defend and justify and over-explain yourself for every decision, the weaker your position becomes. Sometimes you just gotta be a confident, assertive dude, and you just gotta be like, listen, I understand your point. Thanks for telling me how you feel, but this is my decision. That's it. The goal isn't to control anybody or any situation or her. You shouldn't have to. The goal is to know that you're confident in your decision-making capabilities. If you don't trust your leadership, the relationship is going to fail. Again, ain't nothing wrong with putting women in a position where you could kind of see what they're made of. You know what I mean? You got to actually. You got to put them in positions where you can see what they're made out of. How would they handle certain situations? But when it boils down to it, man, if every plan, every choice, every decision turns into a battle, that is a clear sign that she does not respect you. She does not trust your leadership. She probably don't even like you that much, bro. Let me tell you something. When a girl into you, right? When she really, really like you, she will change her opinion. She will change her religion for you. She will follow your lead. The only reason, if she went from following your lead to not following your lead, and it felt like this shift happened, a lot of times, you have to kind of look at yourself and be like, am I handling business? Have I been on my purpose? Have I been doing what I'm saying I'm going to be doing? Am I keeping my word? You have to also take a look at yourself and be like, why all of a sudden is she starting to challenge me so much? Because women will test you. Sometimes they'll test you subtly just to see if you actually who you are saying you are. Now, what you also have to understand too, right, man, is for the most part, women are extremely emotional. And a lot of the times they're going to want to do something. And you're going to know inherently, this is not the way to go. And you're going to have to tell her no. And you're going to have to stand firm in your decision. Now, how she handles that interaction, her feelings, and everything moving forward is going to tell you a lot. Now, this is a third way that women disrespect men. And it's also one of the ways that they tend to react when they don't get what they want. The silent treatment, when they go ghost on your mother's gun. Now, not all silence is disrespect. Sometimes she might just be processing. She might need a little bit of space. Sometimes women are just naturally just pull away, you know what I mean? For whatever reason, in that moment, in that day, and you'll have some silence. You can't be panicking, and you should be in a space where that don't even affect you, make you, break you. I ain't really talking about that. What I'm talking about is when she intentionally, consciously, with the goal of trying to get a reaction out of you, takes it upon herself to punish you by not talking to you, not speaking to you. That's a decision. That's a choice. Some women, right, whether it be because of what they've seen in their household, with the relationship they have with their parents, or it's worked in previous relationships or whatever. Some women think that in order to get what they want from you, the best way to do this is to try and punish you, to try and do something to you to get the results that they want. 9 out of 10 times, they ain't physically stronger than you. So they can't beat your ass. You know what I mean? So what they will do is they will try to emotionally have leverage over you. And one of the strongest ways to do this is to withdraw affection, withdraw time, withdraw attention. They'll give you the silent treatment. This is one of the most common forms of disrespect, and it's something that you see all the time that women do. Now, like I say, don't confuse this with she just taking a little bit of space. She needs to decompress. She needs to think. Sometimes she needs to calm down. That's actually healthy. If you want her kind of talking, and maybe she getting a little heated and she say, you know what, just give me a few minutes. Let me kind of like catch myself. You know, I ain't really going about this the right way. I mean, that's amazing. If she tell you that, just give her time, give her space. You know what I mean? Leave her handle herself, and then she come back, she talk to you calmly. That's fine. But if she decide, oh, I ain't going to talk to him for 2 days, or I ain't going to text him for 3 days, or whatever, stay calm. It's okay. Don't chase. Don't beg. Don't be constantly checking in. Don't try to force communication or blow up her phone. Sometimes you gotta give her the space to see what it is going on. Is she giving you space because she trying to calm down? She have a lot going on, wherever, or is she punishing you? Just give her the space. Leave her show her card. Because if someone is using silence as a weapon, eventually the pattern will show itself. You're going to know the difference between her regulating herself or handling some business and her trying to create emotional pressure from you. And remember to say, you don't have to react to everyone's attempt at trying to create emotional pressure with you. And you may not think this is disrespectful. It's not even really so much about what she's doing. It's about the mindset towards it. It's about, I'm not getting what I want, or I'm not getting the feelings that I want to feel, so I'm going to do something to hurt you. I'm going to do something to get back at you. I'm going to do something to win, punish, whatever you want to call it. The issue is the core mindset behind it. And like I told you earlier, you don't want to reward that negative energy with your time and attention. They want space? Give them all the space that they need. You should be happy. You should have so much stuff going on in your life. You should be on your purpose so much that if she decides to go ghost on you for 2-3 days, yo, man, that's more time in the gym. That's more time to hang out with your friends. Shit, maybe you ain't even really in a relationship with this girl and y'all just talking. That's more time to go hang out with your other girls. At the end of the day, use that as an opportunity to focus on the things that's important to you. Give her all the time and space that she needs. And if she likes you, if she's really into you, she's gonna figure it out. She's gonna come back. She'll be more soft. She'll be more submissive. And that's your opportunity to set the tone moving forward. This might happen every once in a blue moon. That's normal. But if you're seeing this happen all the time, again, it becomes a pattern and a behavior. It's not just a moment in time. This is actually a character trait, and that's a big major red flag. Here's the fourth way now that women tend to disrespect men. When they're comparing you to other men or even other situations. It's a big one too, because honestly, it's her trying to emasculate you. It's her trying to make you feel like you're not sufficient enough. And if you leave her do this here to you, it's going to slowly lower your value, your self-worth, and it's going to erode and corrupt respect. If she starts telling you things like, well, my ex used to do this, or this guy used to do that, or some co-worker, or some friend, all that low keep telling you, right, is that she don't really value you, you know. She might not even feel like you're her best option. And remember, these girls are hypergamous in nature. They always want to feel like they were their best option possible. So if she constantly comparing you to somebody else, she's telling you, like, yo, she think they're better, or she think that situation better. She thinks she could do better. And I ain't gonna lie to you. You can't argue your value. Never try to prove yourself in order to compete with somebody that she comparing you to, or some lifestyle that she comparing you to. If she really feel like that's for her, and she was with this person and they were doing all those things, why they didn't work out? Why shouldn't stay with him? Or if she feel like this person over here have a better lifestyle, then go live it. Good luck. I wish you nothing but the best. I over here focusing on my purpose, getting these goals accomplished, getting these dreams accomplished. You're more than welcome to be a part of it. But if you feel you could do better, the door's right there. Never try to outperform another man or situation to try and prove yourself and get respect. Never be in a position where you feel like you got audition for your value and your respect, what girl. Let me tell you something. As a confident man that's doing everything that he's supposed to be doing, you focusing on your purpose, you're doing everything that you could possibly humanly do to be the best version of yourself. And you have someone that constantly feels like they need to compare you to appreciate you, the issue isn't your value. The issue is their mindset. This is why it's so important, man, to make sure that you focus on building yourself up to the best version of yourself. Because the best thing for you to do, man, is to be in a position and to be the type of person that someone would be crazy to want to lose. Just the idea of losing you, it drives them crazy. That's the best, most advantageous position to be in. But let's get right into number 5, man. The 5th thing that some of these women tend to do that's disrespectful is them backhanded joke. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I get some dark humor. And I kind of like dark humor. And some of dark humor involves having the capacity to be able to be, kind of get roasted and roast back. I don't mind a girl I could pitch and catch with. I love it, actually. Like, it's fun. Like, it's cool to have that dynamic where, you could kind of crack on her and she could crack on you and y'all could pitch and catch with each other. Like, I talking about them jokes that attack your confidence, your dignity, your manhood, your masculinity at its core. The things that attack your self-respect. Some of these girls, they'll get in your ear and they'll be like, that's why your father doesn't love you. Like some crazy stuff. Some of these girls will say some things so sharp, right? That is like, what? I can't believe you say that to me, man. They'll say something to you that it's with the intent to destroy you. You know what I mean? To destroy your character, to destroy your masculinity, to just erode your frame entirely. And again, sometimes, right, this might not even be intentional. Like I said, some people just have strong, dark humor. And you kind of just got to check it. You don't want to get butthurt. You don't want to seem like she hurt your feelings and go crying and, I can't believe you say that. Now you're like, hey. You're crossing the line now. Take it easy. Just casually, calmly check it. You ain't gotta say too much, you ain't gotta do too much. Less is best. If it was just a harmless joke that she kind of get carried away in the moment, she gonna catch herself, she gonna check herself, and she gonna cross the line again. Now, the last thing you want to do is start trying to justify and explain why she shouldn't say these things to you. And over-explaining and defending your position and why that hurts your feelings. Remember this, man. Some of the men in the strongest positions don't have to say or do too much. A lot of the times, men think the authority comes from being bigger and stronger or over-explaining your position. Again, all you could do is communicate your standards with clarity. One sentence, one boundary, one expectation, and then let her behavior do the talking. If you continue to persist, don't find yourself sitting on there trying to convince her. Oh my God, why are you doing this? You don't understand. You shouldn't be saying this to me. This is so crazy. This is so mean. Like, don't find yourself in that position. Best thing you do, man, while smiling your face, calmly just set your boundaries, set your standard, tell her what lines we ain't gonna cross, and keep it moving forward. Leave her behavior, do the rest of the talking from that point. Now, number 6. Disrespecting your time. Disrespecting your time is one of the biggest signs of disrespect. Your time should be valuable. You should have so much stuff going on in your life that when you decide to make time for someone, they value it because it's scarce. They don't always have access to it. So when they get access to it, they're happy. And they cycle it different at different stages. If you just start talking to a girl, it might be a situation where she flakes on you. Maybe you set up a date and a time and then she cancels you last minute. Sometimes you'll even get on the date and she just don't show up. Now, I ain't talking about if a boulder fall on her car and flatten her vehicle and now she ain't gonna try, like a real emergency. I talking about like if you just don't have no legitimate reason and she just flaking and canceling you 1 time, 2 time, that's showing that she don't value your time. Maybe she feels she have other option. Maybe she's talking to somebody else. At the top of this in my book too, by the way, I had to break this whole thing down to a science at every stage. Just to keep it simple for this video, if you have someone like the subscriber that gave me the situation that is constantly flaking at you. Like I say, this could look different ways in different stages of the relationship. You could be in a relationship with a girl, right? And y'all been together for 3-4 years. And all of a sudden, she just don't have time for you. When you start seeing those type of things consistently happen and there's a pattern to it, there's a consistency to it, you have to recognize that this is a behavior. And a lot of men will ignore this because they're emotionally attached. 1 time, maybe twice, but 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, you just choosing to not see reality. The strongest boundary isn't always what you say, it's what you're willing to walk away from. That's the only way, and that's part of the conversation that we had. You have to be willing to walk away from that type of behavior and just completely remove yourself. Don't give them your time and attention. Like, listen, you see the switch. If they care about you, if they value you, they're going to start putting in an effort. Sometimes, too, they just want their attention and they realize, oh, no, I'm about to lose my access to this attention. And then they start overcompensating. You have to pay attention to all of these things. If you recognize this pattern and this behavior, you have to be willing to walk away and separate yourself from it. Now, here's number 7. And this is probably one of the easiest ones to recognize. Public disrespect. If your girl mocking you in front of other people, trying to bring you down and make you look bad, and she embarrassing you publicly, sharing private information, try and get laughs or validation at your expense, you can't sit down there and let her slide. The issue is the humiliation. She's taking your private matters, your private conversations. She's going out there. Or if y'all having a disagreement or issue in your relationship, she taking it and blabbing it to everybody. Are you business out there in the street? She making you look bad. Now, every relationship has disagreements. And sometimes, of course, these girls won't talk to their friends. And you always want to say, oh, keep it between the relationship. But they don't talk to their friends. Trust me. If they have friends, they don't talk to them. Now, if you find this happening, here's how you handle it. You don't address it publicly. In private, not emotionally, not all dramatic. I don't appreciate you doing that. I need it to stop. And then pay attention, because once again, respect is revealed through behaviors, not promises. Because these girls will tell you, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to do it. They're never going to happen again. And then 2 weeks down the line, it happened again. And then you tell her again. And then, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It ain't going to happen again. And then it happened again. And again, recognize the patterns. Recognize the behavior. That's the core message here. You have to recognize the difference between a one-off situation that may have been out of context or an actual pattern. One of the biggest things that you hear me talk about in my book is you have to look at her actions, not her words. Women will say one thing and do another, and that's all women. I don't care if y'all come for me in the comments with all. It is all women. All women have this natural gift where they will say one thing and do another. And you have to pay attention to whether or not their actions line up with their words. Now, I know, after these examples, I told you that the best way to handle some of this is just communicate. Have a conversation. And I also told you never argue with women. There's a difference between a healthy dialogue and communication and an argument. You don't want to find yourself in a shouting match, over-explaining, trying to justify and convince this person. That's the difference. Sometimes a little dialogue is necessary. Help me understand. Let me get into your mind. Help me understand your views. You're still two people that come from different backgrounds, and you're trying to find different ways to align and make this situation work. And if you have two people that are willing to communicate, hear each other out, let me hear your perspective, I hear my perspective. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great, actually. If anything, that type of communication and conversation is what women need to feel connected to you. If you find yourself having to try to convince in order to prove your point, or you feel like she's trying to win, you're trying to win, and it becomes this ego battle of who could make the other person feel worse, who could win the argument, who could win the debate, who could prove the other one wrong. And one of the easiest ways to notice this is when you start in to talk and you find yourself just arguing, going to place. Y'all just going like this. Y'all just going completely in circles over and over and over and over again. Y'all ain't actually accomplishing anything out of the conversation. That's the last thing you want to do. You do not want to reward this type of energy with your time and attention. You need to disengage. Let's just put a pin in it. Let's come back and talk when we can both speak calmly. That's it. And you walk away. And you come back and you speak when you're level-headed. And let me tell you why you need to disengage. You've already said what you had to say. She's already said what she had to say. At that point, you need to recognize when productive communication has ended. It is your job to recognize when the conversation is no longer being productive and disengage. Allow the dust to settle and then revisit it when you're both calm. And I get it to know, these women are emotional. Sometimes they're going to do and say things, and you're going to just have to kind of be the one that's level-headed and calm. And, she going to be up here, and you got to kind of listen and make her feel heard and understood and kind of get her back down here. And there's levels to it, though. The goal isn't to become the type of man that gets better at handling disrespect. The goal is to be the type of man that knows how to recognize it, knows how to handle it, and does not tolerate it. There's a difference. You have to have an abundance mindset. It actually helps you to always have this level of kind of like, you know what? I do want you. You are my girl. I care about you, but I'll be fine without you. You have to kind of carry that level of mindset and abundance within yourself. That's really the only thing that you can do that she's going to actually feel and recognize as something that yo, I can't cross this line. At the end of the day, right, we're bigger and stronger than them. You can't get physical with them. And I already talked about this in a previous video. The second a woman put her hands on you, that's a hard line. There's no coming back from that. You're cut off. But we're just talking about for the most part. Women are going to have these tendencies to kind of exist in the emotional sphere, the emotional battlefield. And you have to control your emotions. Or else you're going to be right there in the Coliseum with them, with the spear and the swords, fighting like you in Gladiator, like a jackass. So you have to go into these interactions with an abundance mindset, knowing that there is always someone out there for you if this person here doesn't align with your core values. You need to have that abundance mindset. Abundance of purpose, discipline, your goals, your self-respect. When you have a full, fulfilling life, boundaries become easy. You're not afraid to lose things that don't serve you. Now, when your life is empty, with no direction, no purpose, boundaries become like negotiations. Like you're so afraid of losing what you have that you're willing to sacrifice the things that's important to you just to keep it. Remember this, a man that genuinely loves himself operates from a place of standards, not from fear, abundance over scarcity. At the end of the day, everybody's going to make mistakes. It's okay to give a little bit of grace. Communicate clearly, state your line and your boundaries. But remember, if you've stated a boundary and the behavior continues and it becomes a pattern, and eventually there has to be consequences. A boundary, right, without consequences is just like a suggestion. It's like you going into a restaurant with a suggestion box and you're just pointing your ideas. It ain't nothing real. They don't have to actually implement those things. If you keep going back to the restaurant and none of these changes are made, you're supporting a restaurant that you don't actually enjoy being at. That's on you, bro. So you never argue for respect. You don't try to over-explain yourself into respect. You don't negotiate respect, and you damn sure don't beg for respect. Simply become the kind of man that respects himself enough to walk away when he's not respected and valued. So I hope this video was helpful, man. Like I say, this video here was inspired by one of my subscribers, and you could just go on the website, man. Let me pull it up again. You could go on the website, tbltotheworld.com, and you go right down here to the bottom and submit your name, your email, and any question or situation that you might want answered on YouTube. So you put in your name, you put in your email, and then you submit it. And I check all my emails, I check every last one. And if it's something that I feel the community needs, I make a video out of it. So head over to tbltotheworld.com, man, and go check out your boy website. Also, the hardcover is also available now. For those of you that are true book legends and you like to have hardcover copies, it is now available on Amazon as well, man. Get your copy today. So pretty much it's available in all formats. You have the paperback, the Kindle, and the hardcover. In the English version, in the Spanish version, you have the paperback and the Kindle. You also have the audiobooks available on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. You should have no excuses as to why you can't get your hands on this book. Learn this material, keep watching this content, and start getting the results that you want, man. Check out the shirt. You know what I mean? Attraction Blueprint, the merch. The merch coming soon, man. But for now, I'm going to just be rocking, I'm going to be rocking into my videos, trying to keep it online with the brand. I also did some events recently. I'm about to put out some content with that, man, so y'all can check out how the book sales have been going, the tables, and all that type of stuff at my different pop-ups. So that's it for now, man. Just stay tuned for more content, and until the next one, TBL to the world. TBL to the world. Yeah, you know. TBL.